Hey, welcome to Own Your Lane. This is the best place for ambitious people who are taking charge of their lives, making that income, making that impact, and living fulfilling lives. How are you doing today? I'm so excited to be here because I'm also talking about something so very practical and transformational for me. It is the power hour that would change your life. Yes, it's basically me telling you that I'm talking about your morning routine. So I was trying to be dramatic about it. The power hour that will transform your life, because that's what it is. That's what it is. And I'm going to start with a little intro just about me, because I like to be as practical as possible. And there's nothing that I teach here that does not apply to me. It's either I have learned, I'm learning, and God is teaching me about it. So this is something that I have really proudly embraced as my norm. It's having a morning routine. And I would tell you that I am a very spontaneous, people loving person. I really am. I feel like I need to convince you if you've been here for a while, but it is true. I am. And because of that nature, being an accountant, a field that required me to be less spontaneous, less creative, less myself, I found myself really pushing back on that and becoming extremely undisciplined. And I used to say that one of my really driving forces and desires in life is to be free. I used to declare that one of the driving forces of my life was freedom. I always desired, was looking for, and was pursuing freedom, because I felt like my life, the way it was structured, the way it was set up, the job I had to do really worked against me as a person, worked against my creativity and my nature. So because of that, I found myself being super undisciplined, like extremely undisciplined, extremely rebellious, and I couldn't stick to one thing. And I thought that was how I was created. I thought I was created to just be free spirited and be creative. Over the years, I learned to appreciate that it was not necessarily true. My lack of discipline was not because it was my nature. My lack of discipline was because I was really just in the wrong place, doing the wrong things, and I had to rebel. I felt like I needed to push back so that I don't lose myself. But getting to the goals and the dreams and the purpose I believe God created me for, I started realizing that structure was so important. I met or read about nobody who achieved anything without structure. Most people who get things done have to have some level of structure. Of course, it doesn't mean that you have a book. It is written in this book that you shall wake up at this time or anything like that. No, but you have to be aware of where you're going, what you're going to do on that path. You have to be aware of when you wake up. You have to be aware of what you're doing with your time once you're up. And I read a quote that was so amazing. I think it is from James Clear. I subscribe to his email. This is an advert. James Clear, what's up? Sponsor your girl. But I read his email. He sends these amazing short emails, and in there he said that we lose time doing things that are unnecessary and productive rather than doing things inefficiently. Most of the times we think that if we do things more efficiently, we will do better. But he was proposing the fact that we waste more time doing things that were totally, absolutely unnecessary. And for me, that is so true. That is so true. I got to a place where I was like, okay, I really want to achieve things in my life. And over time, I'm getting older, I'm moving forward, and things are not changing because I'm holding on to this identity of me having no structure and seeing everybody I admired, everyone who had built a business like I wanted to. Nobody was there sitting there and just chilling. Even Richard Branson, who seemed like the free spirit, I would read his books and I'd be like, oh my goodness, this guy has fun. He had structure. You can't build anything without structure. So he would structure his fun, okay? But I was just at the mercy of fun. And so I realized that I was wasting my time, my talent, my potential by not having any structure. And having a morning routine is key to that. So let's talk about my morning routine and maybe how you can learn from mine and create yours, and let me know in the comments your routines that work for you so that I can also learn from you and we can continue to grow together. Let's do it. First of all, the importance of a structured routine is the fact that when things happen in life, life usually has its own flow, and therefore it goes against the structures that we set up. But if you have no structure and you just let life come through, just go with the flow, you'll find that you'll be blown really, really far. You just go everywhere and achieve nothing. So what structure does is, when you are hit with life and its detours, you can be able to say, okay, that was a detour, but it doesn't take me off course. It takes me on a longer path. Maybe it takes me on a new path, but I'm still on course to achieve what I want to achieve. And that's what structure does. It gives you this roadmap that keeps you grounded and rooted. And even in times where there's a pandemic, the economy is everywhere and stuff like that, if you don't have a structure for your life, you would just be swept away by all these reactions, attitudes, and stuff. With a structure, though, you'll be able to say, okay, the economy has changed. Okay, my job has changed. Okay, my business has changed, but this was the plan. This was what we were doing. Then what can we do? Whereas when you don't have a structure, when all these things change, you'll be destroyed completely because there's nothing to stand on. So it gives you some sort of footing, some sort of anchor when you have a structure to your day to day and also to your life as a whole. That was an extra side note. Now let's get into it proper. Number one, to have a powerful morning routine, you have to start with a nighttime routine. Because if you don't sleep well, you won't wake up well, or you won't wake up at all. And that was somewhere I really tripped. I used to sleep at midnight or at 1 a.m. and I would want to wake up early. That was not working. And even if I forced myself to do it, I was just so tired and ineffective. So I would sit down after waking up and I'd black out so fast. And if I didn't black out during the day, I was tired. So that wasn't helping. So start with your nighttime routine. Give yourself 7 hours of sleep at least every day. It's important. Your body needs to regenerate. It needs to regroup. You need that rest. It's essential. Even though you are a high achiever, you're ambitious, you need to rest. Your body needs it. You operate in your body. Take care of your body by resting. So nighttime routine. What time do you go to bed? What time do you plan to wake up? So I'll share mine. I go to bed 9 to 9:30. That is my window. When my kids are going to bed at 8, I usually like to go with them or go at 8:30 and just be in bed up to around my bedtime. I'll be reading, I'll be thinking, but mostly reading around that time so that I can then drift off to sleep. If I don't do that, I'll be hanging with my husband till late, watching nothing, browsing and scrolling. And that's the other point. With the nighttime routine, should really manage your social media, your gadgets and everything, because sometimes you go to bed in time but you find yourself scrolling and being super active and you're not getting to a proper routine to sleep. Okay, you're getting yourself activated and getting excited, which doesn't help with your nighttime routine. So start with your nighttime routine. Other people, when I tell them the time I wake up, they think, oh, you're a superwoman. I'm like, no, I just shift how I sleep. Because other people wake up at 7, but they sleep at 1 a.m. It makes sense, right? I sleep at 9 to 9:30. I wake up at 3:40. It's the same thing. I just shifted. Why did I shift? I shifted because I found that my late nights had nothing happening there. They were just wastage and pointless. My mornings, however, are very productive. They're forward-looking. They're structured. That give me this power and an organization vibe in the morning, which I love, love, love. Okay? So your nighttime routine is essential. The second thing we're going to look into is, why are you doing this? Where are you going with this? You have to have a clear picture of your destination. Where are you going with this? Why are you putting yourself under a routine in the first place? Because if you don't have a why, then when it's cold and it's time to wake up, you won't wake up. So you have to have a clear destination. As for me, I share my destination all the time on this group. I'm creating an empire. I'm creating impact and wealth using God's principles. And my desire is to teach others to do the same. And that won't happen with me sleeping 9, 10, 15 hours a day. So I have to go to bed early. And when I wake up, that alarm is ringing. I know why I'm supposed to wake up. Sometimes I'm tired. I'm like, no, but then I remember the vision. I remember what I'm desiring. I remember that I need to talk to God so that He can tell me what to do and how to do my tasks for the day. And then I wake up. Because purpose is a very faithful alarm. It is. It will wake you up. You'll be like, because you know what you need to do and why you need to do it. So you need to be clear on that. The third thing is you have to prioritize. Okay, what are you going to be doing with your time? So create your priorities. I am going to sleep this time because of this. or I am going to stop being on social media at this time, because let's prioritize your time. Okay, you want to have a great routine. So when you wake up, what are you doing? Because you could wake up and be on social media, you could wake up and be doing things that you don't want. My husband, I'm telling on him right now, he woke up one time, he's supposed to be studying, so he wakes up an hour after me, and then he sits down and he's putting his headsets, he's watching this YouTube about a class, and then I hear some sounds. I was like, okay, that doesn't sound like a tutor on YouTube. So I'm like, dude, what's happening? Lakers. He was watching basketball early in the morning. And according to him, he was just going to check out for a few minutes. And guess what happened? Yeah, I'm sure you guessed it right. Few minutes never work. So prioritize your time, not just your time for the morning, but for the whole day. Because for me, when I understand what I'm going to do in the day, I realize that if I don't wake up early, my day will shift and my priorities will be messed up. So because I want to focus on me before I focus on the world, I want to be clear with me before I'm clear with the world. I want to be clear with God before I go up and start touching people and moving around and being busy. Then I realize my priorities are spend time with God, spend time in quietness, read, and then go into the world. So when you have your priorities in place, you can then focus. You can then say, this is important, this is not. When you do this exercise, you'll be surprised how much you invest in things that are not important. You'll be like, why am I investing my prime time on social media? Why? You'll be surprised, but we do it. And because we don't pause to really be clear about where we're putting our time and prioritizing, we just spend that time without knowing, and we're wasting valuable time. The next thing you do is execute. And one thing I want to free you on is be free to pivot. Sometimes you write your schedule. I wake up at 3, then I'm reading, I'm doing this. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you feel like this is just going to be a prayer morning. That's what I do. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I just want to read the word of God. Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to read that book I wanted to finish. Sometimes I'm just quiet. Sometimes I just want to think. Just be flexible with your plan. Be flexible with your day. Allow the wind of God to direct you. Allow God to intervene in your schedule. But also, if things are not working, be free to shift them. Don't just say, because I committed to waking up at 4, I'm tired all day, but I will still wake up at 4. No, you can adjust and say, okay, maybe I need to sleep earlier now. Maybe I need to do this and that. Be free in your execution to really pivot. And be gracious to yourself. Sometimes you set goals and your body needs time to adjust, and you're still struggling with the schedule, and you're so hard on yourself. You're so dissing yourself. I had this week where I couldn't wake up at 3:40. I was waking up at 4:30 because of what was happening in my life in that time. And I was feeling guilty at the start of the week, but I was like, no, this is life. This is life. This is not just like I'm a robot, I'm going to do this. No, this is life. I'm dealing with what's happening. And this is not me having excuses and trying to be lazy. So grace yourself. Life happens. But what really matters is you get up and you get back to the schedule. You get up, be honest with yourself, and do what needs to be done. So execute, but be free and flexible to pivot. And the last thing you have to do is review. Is this working for you? Is this benefiting you? Is this achieving the things you want to do? So do a review. And after you see that this works and you shift things around and say, okay, this should work, get back at it. Just because it didn't work in the first week completely well, doesn't mean it won't work. These are habits you're breaking. You see, habits are rooted, deep rooted. To break them, you don't just say, break that habit and in a week they're done. They'll persist. They will try to come back. So you need to persist as well. You need to push through. And the good word says a powerful person falls down 7 times, rises up 8 times. So that means you persist. You will be challenged. You will be blocked. It will hurt, but you will persist. Because when you persist, that's where you win. That's where you look back and see, wait, I have been consistently running this profitable, amazing routine. I'm changing. I'm growing. You will look back and see that, but that means you have been persisting day by day, brick by brick. So those are my tips for running an amazing morning routine. And just to take you through my morning routine again, I wake up at 3:40. After I wake up at 3:40, I give myself 2 hours or so. That's my prayer, my reading, my meditation time. It goes into that depending on what the day feels like. I could meditate for longer, or I could pray for longer, or I could read for longer, but it's about 2 hours in the morning that I give to that. I do that because I feel that in my job, in what I do every day, I need to have that kind of insight. I need to have that kind of wisdom that comes from God. And so because of that, I put myself under this kind of training so that I'm not just all over the place lying to people, hurting people, and giving bad advice. So I believe that my quiet time prepares me for the work that I do. Yours will look different according to the work you do, obviously, but that is my reasoning for that. So after my 2 hours, I go into an hour to work out. That hour of workouts is important also for me because I want to be in my zone. I want to be strong. I want to be resilient. I want to be as healthy as I can. And after that, my day starts taking care of my kids. They're going to school. My husband is going to work. There is food being prepared, and everything starts to happen. Now, the structure after that is not really up to me. I work. My kids are back from schoolwork, and work some more, maybe prayer time, maybe Bible studies and stuff like that. But the rest of it is not up to me till around 6 p.m. when I stop working. And after 6 p.m. I hang out with my kids. And then after that, around 8, my last born goes to bed around 7:30. My firstborn goes to bed around 8. So when he's going to bed, I take it up for myself to go to bed immediately with him, not to sleep, but to read. But sometimes I stick around, but around 9 to 9:30, I should be in bed as well. And that can be challenging sometimes because my husband sleeps late. But I am training myself. I have been training myself and I'm used to it. So when it's 9 o'clock, I am yawning myself out. And he's like, just go to bed, man. So that is my routine. It helps me stay grounded, rooted, structured. I feel I want to take charge of the 24 hours that God has granted me. And it sounds like I am perfect and whatnot, but I am not, because this is just my ideal routine. It is what I do most of the days. Sometimes I don't. And when I don't, the culprits can be social media. They can be, mostly social media. I don't watch TV as much anymore. Yay, that was a big hurdle to overcome. But social media can be a challenge, so I put my phone away. I have my tablet where I read from. I don't read from my phone anymore. And that tablet has no internet. It has no calling. So nothing happens there apart from my books and me reading. So that helps as well. So let me know what you do with your morning routine, how mine feels like, what do you think about it? Let me know so that we can continue to grow and learn from each other. Thank you for stopping by. New episodes every week, Thursdays on the podcast, Tuesdays on YouTube. And if you're serious about owning your life and having the success you desire, you must definitely check out the Zone of Success exercise. It's in the description box. It's a short 3-question exercise that will help you understand your gifts and how you can utilize them in your life for your success. It's really amazing, short but impactful. Check it out in the description box. And yes, if you want to work with me personally, there's a link for Circle of Greatness, my coaching program, that is in the comments. I'd love to have you there and work with you and transform together. It would be amazing. My name is Mavis Tandizo Kanjata. It's always a pleasure to have you, and I'll see you soon. Right? Later.